We're here with Professor Tolliver of the Department of English at Agnes College in Atlanta, Georgia. He will teach a summer online course of Alfred Hitchcock, and we have a few questions for you. Do you mind?
Of course, go ahead.
Why is it important to teach a course about Alfred Hitchcock?
Well, I can't think of a better director who illustrates every dimension of film, thematically, technically, theoretically, and even historically. You can even teach an entire course on the history of film using just the films of Alfred Hitchcock, because his career spans the whole length of film history, starting with the silent era going up to modern day. And particularly he's having a historical moment right now. I'm on vacation in Estonia, and just the other day I was in a bookstore. I walked in and I noticed a critical study of Hitchcock, one that I had never seen before, and I was really amazed to be able to find this incredible book in such an unexpected place. On the plane coming over, one of the choices of films that was offered was the film Hitchcock, the biography starring Anthony Hopkins. Now, this film focuses on the making of Psycho, and it details the very interesting relationship that Hitchcock had with his wife in terms of their creative partnership. And also it was fascinating to see the inner workings of the Hollywood studio system and all of the executives as they negotiated with Hitchcock, and how he dealt with them in order to maintain and sustain his creative vision. Earlier this year there was another film about Hitchcock that was shown on HBO called The Girl. This film was about the making of The Birds, and it also was a very interesting insight into Hitchcock's creative process, and also it went into a lot of detail about his obsession with Tippi Hedren. And as everyone knows, Hitchcock had this kind of fixation on icy blondes. So this is another issue that we will certainly deal with over the course of the session. Recently, Arts Entertainment Channel completed its first season of the television series Bates Motel, which is a kind of prequel to Psycho, but yet it's set in the present, so you try to figure that one out. It's done in the style of David Lynch, who you may know from Twin Peaks and from Blue Velvet. It's a fascinating television series, and the performances by Vera Farmiga and by Freddie Highmore are just incredible. And once you start watching this show, you really can't stop. Back in January, Sight and Sound magazine, which is a distinguished British film journal, published its list of the 10 greatest films of all time. This is a list that they compile every 10 years, and it's based on the voting of their panel of international film critics. And the result was Vertigo being voted the best film ever made. And this is what this course is all about. What we're going to look at is exactly why Hitchcock is considered such a great film director. As an example of the kind of inquiry and analysis that we will be engaged in, I thought we might look at briefly a scene from one of Hitchcock's earlier films called Shadow of a Doubt. In this movie, a young woman who's living in an idealized all-American town in California is visited by her Uncle Charlie, who is a worldly sophisticated man, and she's absolutely fascinated and she absolutely adores him. But over the course of his stay, she starts to suspect that he's not exactly what he seems to be. she notices on the radio and in the newspapers reports about a man called the Merry Widow Murderer, who is going around the country victimizing elderly, wealthy widows. And she begins to think that her uncle may be a suspect in this case. The scene that I'm going to show you takes place at a family dinner, and during the course of it, as she listens to her uncle and watches him, she gradually comes to a greater understanding of who he might be, and at the same time, as he talks, he reveals his true feelings and his true identity. So during the scene, pay attention to the way words are used to move the story forward. Pay attention to the way the editing is used. There's intercutting between the characters to create tension. Also pay attention to the use of the camera. The scene has a spectacular mobile frame when the camera closes in on the face of Uncle Charlie as he sort of reveals who he really is. And this is really a testament to Hitchcock's genius in the way that he's able to create such a chilling moment using all of the elements of film. So let's take a look at this.
Oh, what am I going to talk about? Lectures usually give them travel or current events, don't they?
Oh, Charlie, not current events, but get current events.
What sort of an audience would be?
Oh, women like myself, busy with our homes, most of us.
Women keep busy in towns like this. The cities, it's different. The cities are full of women, middle-aged widows, husbands dead, husbands who've spent their lives making fortunes, working and working. Then they die and leave their money to their wives, their silly wives. And what do the wives do, these useless women? You see them in the hotels, the best hotels every day by the thousands. Drinking the money, eating the money, losing the money at bridge, playing all day and all night, smelling of money. Proud of their jewelry, but of nothing else. Horrible. Faded, fat, greedy women.
They're alive, they're human beings.
Are they?
So, did you notice how, one moment, did you notice how he turns to the camera and looks directly into, at the audience? And what this does is to implicate the audience in the perceptions of his niece. Now this is filmmaking at its economical and most artistic, expressive best. You don't get much better than this, and this is what we'll be exploring over the course of the next 5 weeks. In addition, and this is the last point I'd like to make, is that we'll also have the opportunity to see an awful lot of highly entertaining films.
Thank you, Professor Oliver, and good evening.
Good evening.